Hi guys, so this video that you saw, this was a tango demo that was done yesterday at the Salsa Social where I was, and I was taking pictures there. So I did this video as well. Nobody asked me, but you know me, so I've got the camera, I'm gonna do it. And this was simple to do. It was just done with my Osmo Pocket, and I did that like a 1:25 shutter speed and 3200 ISO. But because the lights were on, it was quite alright. Came out okay. I'm quite happy with it. And the Osmo Pocket gives so much such smooth footage. I really love that. But other than that, for the photography itself, that is a little bit more challenging. When people look at my photos on Facebook from the event, and then because I've been doing it for about a year or so now in this particular event, which happens at least once a month. And people look at the picture, and if they say like, oh, we like the pictures and all that, I always say it's really easy to take pictures of these people because they are dancers. So they are all good looking, well dressed, happy, active people. Dancers are always good looking people. It doesn't matter whether they are big, tall, small, thin, fat, whatever. They are always good looking people, because people who dance, they have that energy about them which makes them beautiful. So it's easy to take pictures of them that way as people, but if you think of them not as people but as something in front of the camera that you are trying to expose correctly, it becomes harder because it's quite dark there. You can't have lights on when you're having a dance event because it's like glaring. It's too warm as well, because when people are dancing they get warm, and the lights also increase the heat. So even in winters you don't want the lights on. Other than that, the distance between the people, that changes. So when you try and take a photo of a dancing couple, the distance would change, and because your flash would fire, and then you have to do autofocus. You can't do manual focus there, so you don't exactly know what will be the final distance at the microsecond when the picture is actually clicked. There is something called TTL, which is through the lens. That technology means that the flash and camera exchange intelligence, and the flash is fired at the right intensity for the distance that is there for the object in front of the lens. But I don't have that, because for my GH5 I don't know whether that is available for GH5 or whether it is just this flash that I've got. I've got a cheaper flash, not a Canon flash or anything like that. Because I've tried a couple of times to try to find if there's TTL possible for this, but I've never had much luck with that. So I have had to develop my skill for that particular scenario, and it has helped me to do this same thing over and over again, and now I can judge the distance between people and the camera for the correct exposure. And also one more thing is that people are moving. So they are always changing, and that distance can change within a half a second as well while you are clicking. And because it's autofocus, so camera is going to focus, and it will take a little bit of time, so you can't actually judge the exact microsecond when the picture will be taken, because it's not in your hand. The camera has to focus first, and if you do if you make it take the picture before that, won't be any good because it won't be in focus. So practice is of course the key for that, and the one thing to judge is the distance between the people, and another thing to judge is the movement. So because I do salsa myself, so I am a dancer, although it sounds funny, but yeah, I never thought I would be able to say that ever in my life. But because I know the dance itself, I know the moves, so I can little bit predict. And this is harder because even the leader, even the person who is leading the dance, usually it's the man, usually not 100%, but usually it's the man who is leading the dance, and then he doesn't know what he's going to do next more than 1 second in advance. So you create the choreography at the moment. So if he doesn't know, how can you know? But once he starts doing it, then you know what's happening. So you know, like maybe half a second ahead of time as to which direction the lady is going to move and what the move is going to be like. Not exactly what it will be, but kind of like an idea of it. So if the hands are going like that, then you can try to get that shot like that, where you can see the eyes between the hands, or if she's turning, then you can get that. It doesn't always work, so because of the autofocus, it can take a little second, half a second, quarter of a second, or something like that. We are talking about very, very small time units, so it's hard to say in normal language. But sometimes it can happen. For example, if I'm taking a picture and I know that somebody is going in this direction and I click it, but it gets released in like a few microseconds later, and the lady would have turned by then, and then you get the picture which is correctly exposed, correctly in focus, but both your subjects are facing that way, away from the camera. Useless. So so you can take pictures which are perfectly lit, perfectly exposed, but you also have to try to do that the capture the moment kind of thing, and that you get with the eyes, with the hands, with the movement. And if you can capture that movement in the still shots, that's the challenge. And I've been trying to get there for a while, and I think it's getting better. So I used to have something like, if I took about 400 pictures in the few hours there, and when I came back to the Lightroom, I would find like maybe 50 to 70 were good enough to actually publish on Facebook. But now it's getting much better. So for example, last night I did about 158 pictures, and out of that I've got about 75 which are looking really, really promising. When I start processing them, I do throw away a few which are not perfect, so it might go down to like 60. But that's a good ratio. For me, that's a really good ratio if I can get that many pictures from 150 pictures. And also, I use the zoom lens 12 to 35 mm. It works well, but if I try to zoom too far, like right to the, because 1235 on my camera, which is a GH5, so it's 2x crop factor, which means it is 24 to 70. So if I go to the top of the range, then I have to have the flash very, very hard, and also even with that, the focus won't be pin sharp. So don't try to do too much zoom with that. But also you can't be too much in the face of the dancers, so I try to do a zoom a little bit. You have to find that balance. I think that's all the tips that I can give from my experience working with it. Try to zoom a little bit so that you are not very close to the people, and try to take a little bit more than you need so that you can crop it. You have more freedom in cropping it, so you know the placement of people in the frame, and also if you want to include other people as well, and include a little bit of the background action even if it is dark, but not to have too much negative space in there. That's all my tips for this, and now I am gonna go see Avengers Endgame again, and tomorrow we are only going to talk about Avengers Endgame and nothing more. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe. See you tomorrow. Bye.